Hello, Soulfire.
Hello, Soulfire. Welcome to the Chronicles of Chiron, the Lion, the Witch, and the Healer. My name is Chrystopher, the AstroMedium, and I am joined by my very special co-host,
Jessica Tanselle, medium, spiritual teacher, and healer. I'm glad to be back.
I am so glad to be back. It's been way too long, I think, for both of us.
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm doing great. I was in rehearsal for a show, so I took a break from the Chronicles for a little bit, and I get to come back
Yep.
and out with you tonight.
Yes, and I went on a month-long excursion across the country into California and went on a little spiritual quest, and I'm finally back and I'm ready to get back to it.
I love that. Where all did you go on your spiritual quest?
So I went and did a plant medicine retreat, and then I went to California and I went to LA for a week, and that was incredible. And it was so synchronistic, and all the things that were happening were so magical. So I do know that I'm going to move out there at some point. So that is going to happen. I went to Joshua Tree, California, and that's an interesting story. Did not know what I was getting myself into when I got there, but very interesting. And I'm being pulled there for a specific reason. Apparently, there are vortexes or vortices, however you want to say that, in Joshua Tree. Lots of UFO activity, lots of beautiful Joshua trees. It was like being on another planet. So I'm finally relaxed. I needed that, and I'm back to get this Chiron thing going again.
Yeah, awesome.
So tonight I had some questions for you because they're in the spiritual communities. I do plant medicine retreats. Plant medicine is very important to me. Plants are obviously very important to me as a vegan. Okay, so I'm all about being plant-based. But something that I've been hearing about and something that people have actually asked me about is cacao ceremonies. And I have seen that you are getting into this work and you're practicing this and you're implementing this as part of your healing work and ceremonial work. And that's really what I would like to talk about.
I would love to talk about that.
Okay.
Cacao is an amazing plant medicine. And you and I have talked many times. We've both loved working with plant medicine, and we've dug deep into plant medicine retreats, and we've tried
Yes.
different medicines to help us in our healing work. And cacao is a plant medicine.
Well, and so really, I love the idea of this specifically for healing. And I think a lot of people are going to have questions about, well, isn't this just chocolate? So I definitely want to get into what is this, the nitty gritty, and why cacao. And I know it has a long lineage and it goes back in tribal cultures and indigenous cultures for thousands of years. So you don't have to convince me of that, but other people might need a little convincing, that they're like, is this just Hershey powder mixed with water, heated up? That was one of my thoughts at the beginning as well. So we do want to
Oh, me too.
delineate with that. But for those of you who are just joining us, this is the Chronicles of Chiron, and Chiron is the archetypal wounded healer in astrology. So if you're just tuning in, or if this is one of the first videos that you've watched, me and Jessica, we talk about different healing modalities, specifically energetic, metaphysical, or spiritually based healing modalities that will assist you in your healing process, your ascension and awakening process, and coming into your divine potential, which is what we're trying to do, and we're helping other people to do as well. So when we get into plant medicine, there's a lot of territory that covers. Hundreds of plants. You could call lavender a plant medicine. I could call a banana a plant medicine because of its high mineral and vitamin content, but now we really want to focus on energetic plant medicine for healing purposes. And when we get into this topic, I am going to kind of want to know, what's it doing? What's it like? What's the feeling like? What makes this different from other healing modalities in plant medicine? And also what makes this different than just chocolate?
Totally. Cacao is a plant, and any of the plants that are in the ground are connected underground. The trees have language where they connect through the roots and they talk to each other. And so cacao is one of those plants that has been around for thousands of years and has the ancient knowledge of the land and the earth. Energetically, it holds that.
Mm-hmm.
So cacao, you can buy cacao nibs at the store. You find that there's chocolate that has like 70% cacao. But when I lead, or when a person leads a cacao ceremony, it's ceremonial cacao.
Okay, now this is what I've been reading about.
They take the plant and they extract it, and so they make the chocolate into a powder, and then they make a butter also from the cacao, and they blend the two into a form of chocolate. And it can come in a block. There are some places that will sell it in little, they look like little coins, and then you measure it. And there are certain there are certain dosages that you will use for a daily ritual or ceremonial ritual. But the ceremonial cacao is coming straight from the land. It is processed very specifically and blessed and very carefully created.
The difference between alkaline spring water and Dasani. You know, there's chocolate, but then there is chocolate that's produced in a sustainable way. Energetically, it's different, and chemically, it's different. It's organic.
But cacao. There's no
Right.
sugar. There's nothing added. It is only cacao. So it's not just chocolate. And in fact,
So why wouldn't someone be able to just make their own, or go get cacao nibs at the store and make their own version of this?
Listen, I did that. I tried that. It didn't work. I promise. Don't do it.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I'm gonna try this, and then I did it one day. Y'all, don't do it. And if you do, y'all, you're gonna be like, Jessica said, don't do that. I should have listened. But
Well,
really,
this really makes me feel about the way people think about tap water versus filtered water, purified water, alkaline water, ionized water. Isn't it all just water? Well, it's not.
It's not.
And then there's holy water. There's water that's been blessed.
Exactly. This is blessed. This is made a specific way. Each person that makes it, and I've tried a few different brands and I've enjoyed them all, but they each have probably a different process on how they bless it, but they're bringing it from the land and they're blessing it and creating that chocolate. I do like the ones that come in a block rather than ones that come in a coin, but that's my preference. And there's a real ritual to like cutting the cacao in the block, and you're blessing it while you're putting intention into it and cutting it. And then you're putting it in with the hot water, and then you get to decide what other herbs that you add. So you might want honey, which is, you're adding that sweetness to your life, or maybe you want to add a little chili pepper to give it a little spice, but also thinking about spicing life up. So you're setting intention for healing the ceremonial cacao. You're setting intention for what you're putting in it, and then you're ingesting it into your body. And when you ingest it, the cacao actually helps to thins the bloodstream a little bit. It's getting into the bloodstream and working through the system. It is a heart opener. And I worked with it for 2 months straight every day to get to know it. Oh, listen. I've worked with plant medicine and cacao. Mind blowing. I was
really
a baby. I went to work one day and my schedule canceled. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Maybe I'm supposed to do this, and that canceled. And I end up on the bed, like crying like a baby. And it was showing me where I had actually treated somebody a way I don't like. And I didn't like what it showed me. And it's very gentle, but this was my process. It showed me stuff that I needed to heal and forgive myself on. And I was crying like a baby. And typically every ceremony, a couple days later, I'm like, oh, this thing comes up and out. So it really is gentle. When you ingest cacao and you set your intention, it can be that you sit with it and just set an intention and kind of sit in meditation for 5 minutes. Or it can be a ceremony where you're there and I'll do drumming and sound healing. Some places you'll be doing dancing after you drink the cacao. So there are different ways that ceremonies are led, and there's no wrong way. You set intent and then you bring it in, whether you're dancing or you're using music or sound healing or meditation, it's activating the cacao in your system. It will ground you. This is an earthy plant that will ground you, and it will lift you into spirit. Typically, after a 2 hour ceremony, which an hour of it is usually the sound healing and meditation, I have to get everybody outdoors to ground. It really lifts you into
Oh,
spirit.
yes. And I would think that everyone doing it in a ceremony style, the plant is assisting, but it's almost opening a gateway through the heart, is how I'm seeing it, for everyone to create a collective vessel upward. So it's not just that, it's almost better to do it or necessary to do it in group settings at times, as well as on your own.
At times, and I do feel like the group setting and the ceremony setting is very helpful. I loved using it every day, but I found that that was a lot for my system, in my healing system, energetically, to have it every day. And let me also say that the dosage that I use daily is different from my ceremony dosage. And also, you don't need much. You can hold the cacao drink and you can feel it vibrating. You don't have to ingest
I
it.
see.
Cacao is, it can upset stomachs if you take medication. So if anyone does decide to try cacao and you're on medications, I would try a little and see how you feel. And then the next time, try a little more.
Yeah, and for those of you like myself who are sensitive to cacao because of the caffeine,
Mhm.
so although in a ceremony type setting, I could handle it. I'll be all right. But just that should also be taken into account as well. And when you say it's a heart opener, tell me what you mean by that, because I know what it means to love someone and have my heart open, or to take a heart opening plant that might be a little bit more intense than cacao,
Mhm.
at least during.
Yes. So some of the plants that you and I have worked with navigate for us. And
I
some
see.
we have to navigate, right?
Ah, yes.
Like in a meditation, sometimes I'm navigating that. When I'm deep
Right.
plant medicine, there are some and many I've taken that they're like, Jessica, this is what I'm showing you. And I'm
Yes.
like, okay,
Same.
work
Yes,
on it,
exactly. Exactly.
right? With cacao, you set the intention and you navigate it a little bit more. And also, I have several people that are telling me, oh, I did not expect that to come up. So it is navigating them a little as well.
Right. It's just more gentle. And maybe the dosages are that way as well. Maybe, okay, so like Kana, for instance, Kana. You can buy that in a tea. I have it in a tea here, but it does not do what it does when I've been in ceremony. Of course, there are several dosages. I'm sure there's much more concentration in one dose and that sort of thing. Now, this also, it makes me feel like there are all these plants that can be used, and some of them are more gentle than others. And I totally get what you mean by it just showing you, and you just feel like, I'd like to share something that happened to me recently at a plant medicine retreat. And I did ayahuasca, and it came in the form of cacao. And there may have been some other things in there. It wasn't just like drinking it like you would in Peru, which is how I would actually prefer it to be, maybe a little bit more customized to the type of setting we were in. It it controlled the entire thing. It was in total control, and I've done ayahuasca before, but this was violent, scary, extremely masculine, almost to the point of being violating. And it was super traumatic and maddening while it was happening. And when I told someone the next day about the experience, the person said, "It's so interesting that you describe it that way because it sounds like iboga." And they said, "We have iboga in the kitchen." And they said they thought that she, the mother, pulled him in. So when you described the cacao just sitting next to you and it already starting to do something, I get energetically in the energy field. And when you connect to it, make that energetic link that it already begins, just to like when you've used the term pre-journey, because
Yes.
it's so real.
Yeah.
And I've talked to them about it and they're all like, "Oh yeah, that's a thing." And I'm like, it really is a thing. And because it's like the minute you commit or pay and say, "I'm doing this," it's like stuff already starts to come.
Yeah.
So it's like it it's very powerful. So my question is also this. There's a lot of people out there that want to do this type of work. They're very drawn to it, but they're also very scared of it,
Right.
as they fucking should be. After what I went through a couple weeks ago,
Okay.
I they should be, because what they're afraid of is the experience that I had, which I don't take back and don't regret.
Yes,
But
they are.
in the next night, because it was a 2-night thing, the first night was absolute madness. And the second night was so mystical and beautiful. So don't get me wrong. I still feel violated, but I'm going to be okay. It had to have done something. That is the experience that you hear about in documentaries. I had it. Okay. And so for those people who think I could build up to that, is cacao a great segue or a good welcome in to this world?
So I have a couple things to say about that. Let me start with, yes, cacao's a great place to start to get to comfortable with
It
plant.
feels safe.
It feels safe. It is safe. And
Right.
actually, that's what I want to touch base on next, because I understand what you're saying. I also have had ayahuasca, and it did show me my stuff. The ayahuasca is the grandmother, and she will show you your stuff, and she'll nurture you while she's doing it. So now I hear you're masculine. Listen, plant
I
medicine will,
had the nurturing ayahuasca, but that wasn't who I got.
right,
That wasn't who I got.
will show you what you need to see. And also, this is why in my spiritual retreats that we start with a heart opener. We start in the
Yes.
heart, and here we're circling back to why heart opener and what that is. A heart
Yes.
opener, your heart is your connection to your soul. This is the beginning of where your spiritual connection starts in your chakras. When we open the heart, the blood is thinning a little bit. And we are literally pumping that blood in our system. The plant is flowing through there, and it opens our connection to our soul and our spirit. And while we're in that space, we're building our comfort zone. So as we're retraining our brain in our plant medicine experiences, we are able to come back home when we are triggered and we've been in hell. Because and not every experience is like that. Like Chris just said, he had a blissful night and he had a hard night, and that can happen.
Yes.
Typically, what I find when women come to my plant medicine retreats, and my plant medicine retreats are not cacao. But
Right.
when you come to those retreats, typically that first one is so blissful. And also, when you set
Right.
intention, doesn't matter how much or which plant medicine, it's not actually about that. It's about your intention and what the medicine wants to show you. And a lot of the ones we use are very gentle. Chris, you've been doing it for a while, and so the medicine,
Yes, of course.
bam.
Yes, and yeah, because I don't remember. I honestly don't feel that I took any more than I have before. Honestly, and it was the most. I noticed that every time I do it, it gets more intense, but not in a bad way necessarily. It did this time in a hard way, but I had a amazing, mystical, beautiful experience the next night in a way that I've never had before.
Right. Yeah, and I have had many different experiences, and what you're telling me is I trust the medicine a little bit more every time. and I go a little bit deeper every time. So those of you that are scared, actually the plants know what to give you and how to give it to you. I've actually, and I'm an open book about this. I have been healing sexual trauma from childhood in this. And the medicine has not thrown me in that memory, but ayahuasca, it gave it to me. And you know what she did? She helped me. And I saw it. And I actually wasn't, I was just viewing it in a spiritual way. It was very interesting. And trust me, I do have that trauma. And it is big, but I have worked through it and healed it and seen it in different ways. And the medicine was like, well, show her this way, and then show her this way, and now show her this way. But it wasn't in a way that I couldn't handle. And did I cry when
Right.
I burned shit down in my home? Yes. Because
Yes.
we're triggered after. It's not all happening that night. And in the
Right.
ceremony, it's not all happening right there. It's a couple days later. And with a plant medicine retreat, this is why we do 2 nights. When I do a women's retreat, I do a Friday night and a Saturday night. You got to get in, you got to get comfortable with the people, you got to trust the medicine, and the next night you can go a little bit.
I almost only did one night. That was my plan, was to do one night. And everyone there kept saying, you should stay, you should stay. And that made me want to leave more. Okay. Because I got a little Aquarius in me. And then I was just having such a good time and connecting with the people so much, even more than I did while we were in Journey that night, that I stayed. And I am so glad that I did.
That connection is the heart opener. You guys, when you are in these ceremonies with people, you are so connected in your heart that you feel you want to connect, you want to talk, you want to maybe hold a hand. You don't have to.
Right. Yes, I definitely do.
I do too. And also, sometimes you need time to yourself. So you get
Oh,
work on you and what you want. I mean, plant medicine is what I adore.
well, it sounds to me that cacao is and I mean this with so much love, a gateway into the cosmic world of plant medicine for those who also who've never done ceremonial work in a group like that. Therapy for you and I, we've been in theater in our life. We've sat in circles with people with no shoes on. We've touched other students. Got we have been very intimate.
No,
We've been naked in front,
that's not what we consider.
dance classes and stuff like that. So those types of things aren't so foreign to us. Some people, that would be very strange. So I feel like cacao, because it does not have any psychoactive or generally psychoactive effects, it's safe for those who even just want to dip their toe in.
It is safe for anyone. And also, I know you're calling it a gateway, and I get it. And yes, it is if you are wanting to experience plant medicine, this is a great place to start. And for some, cacao's all they need. Cacao.
Ah,
You don't
oh,
need more. And actually, you don't have to have plant medicine. But for those of you that are
right.
up and like go, 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 and strong warriors, like you all, plant medicine might be for you to get deeper because your guard's so hardcore. So cacao is plenty. And I love to dig deeper. You love to dig deeper, but cacao is it for some.
You're exactly right.
And cacao is not for all. Some people prefer not cacao and prefer plant medicine.
Right. I get you. Well, that pretty much answered my question. Thank you so much. I am very interested in trying it myself and in a ceremony, and that's I feel very called to it actually. Because I feel like there are, you'll love this. You brush your teeth every day and then you go to the dentist and you have deep cleanings. So it could be cacao is a way to, because I can get cacao. It's readily, I can't go out in my backyard and make my own ayahuasca tea, nor would I want to. I want it to come to me the way it's supposed to. And
Right. And I suggest if you are trying plant medicine that you actually do go to a facilitator or a retreat.
exactly.
Actually, doing plant medicines on your own really can be dangerous, and you can't
Yes.
do too much. So you can
Yes.
reach out to either of us and we can lead you in the right direction. I lead retreats, but we have other people in our community that lead retreats that we love, and we like for you to be in the right spot. I have a retreat coming up this weekend. I'm actually doing a King's retreat Thursday and a Goddess retreat
That's right.
Friday
That's
and
right.
Saturday. My Goddess retreat is full. And so our next one's in October. But I lead a cacao ceremony every month. And this month is on July 23rd. I also, with the medicine woman, lead one-on-one or two-on-one retreats for people or groups. It's really cool to get to have them to our office or to go to their home and lead retreats. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can do it many different ways.
Perfect.
What do you have going on?
Well, so of course, I am the in-house intuitive astrologer for Eclipse over Roswell, almost full time now. So I will be with them about 4 days a week periodically. I'm going to be teaching a lot more classes coming up. So of course, I teach my basic astrology class every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, but I am starting Astrology 101, 102, 103, Psychic Astrology, and we also have Empaths Anonymous, which is a 12-step program and meeting group for empaths and highly sensitive people. And that will be every Sunday evening. And you can, of course, if you're in the Atlanta area, you can join us in person in Roswell, just north of Atlanta, or you can join on Zoom. And if you are interested in a reading with me, you should definitely go to my new website, www.theastromedium.com. And if you're not already following me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, you can at the.astromedium. Jessica, what do you have going on?
I love all of that. The astromedium.com. Yes. Okay. You all can find me at thejessicatanselle.com. You've heard already, I've got retreats and cacao ceremonies coming up. You can book a session with me from my website, and you'll see all the information on the events and the ceremonies that I have coming up. You can also find a link to my mediumship for the intuitive course. It's a 4-week virtual course, and I will have week 4 up next week. So be sure to check that out. I'd love to have you all join me along that journey. Thank
Awesome.
you for joining me tonight, or thank you for letting me join you again.
Absolutely. And thank you for joining me. So thank you everyone for joining us for another episode of the Chronicles of Chiron, the Lion, the Witch, and the Healer. We'll see you all next week here on Soulfire, a virtual spiritual art center at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. Be there.
Be square.
Period.
Hurt.